we're sharing with each other. So what sets you off? Anything sets you off? Like really just gets under your skin?
Yeah, when that guy says go to 2, 3, 4, 5. Talking about road rage. Oh, I'm sorry. Talking about the road rage.
No, not necessarily just road rage, but what sets you off in life? What is it that somebody can do that really
It's a
just...
lack of a basic level of respect. Just a basic level of respect.
Has anything like that? Tell us about a time when something like that's happened.
You talking about road rage now?
No, anything. Has anything set you off? Because, you know, if we're honest with ourselves, all of us can look at and probably pick out a situation and say, yeah, something, you know, I was yelling at somebody about this, or, you know, I was yelling at my kids because they were running around climbing under the stairs.
When my kids are sneaky, I feel like we work so hard to try and live open and transfer. So when they do things where they're trying to be sneaky, that really gets to me. And I just feel like, you know, because then, you know, it gets into the trust, and I could, you know, go on and on and on about how, you know, that's when I'll be like, all right, we got it. It's like, look, you know, you shouldn't be doing things, you know, come talk to me, ask me, talk to your mother.
Yeah, so sneakiness kind of sets you off. Okay.
Yes.
I got a story.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's exactly why we're here. This is about life.
I lost my mind. I really almost lost my mind, I should say.
Okay.
My sister's visiting from California. She's got her little kids with us, having a nice time, you know, she's spending a lot of time with us. And we're in Costco's or BJ's, one of these types of stores. And her son, he's a big boy at the time. He might have been, I want to say maybe 8 or 9, old enough to know better. So we're in the Costco's and we're sitting down, we're eating. And he's doing this thing, he's not sitting down eating, and he's walking around like this, with his arms out. And he walks by me, and he slaps me in the back of my head. Which I did not expect, and that's what made me lose my mind. They're like, I'm just sitting there, what's this kid hitting me for? You know? And I was like, Joe! You know? And I'll yell anyway, you know? And I was like, Joe! Get over here! You know, I wanted to talk to him. I was mad. And I said, and he turns around, still like he did nothing. Like he's in his own little world. And he's walking over to me, but it wasn't quick enough. And I lunged up and I grabbed him by his shirt and I gripped him to me. And when I said, what's the matter with you? Why you know, like that? What are you hitting me for? You know, I'm yelling at him. And in the process of that, I ripped his shirt. I totally ripped it really bad. And my sister's in the bathroom with a younger child, changing the diaper or whatever. I'm like, and after I'm yelling, you sit down and, you know, hand me something. Now I look at him, I'm like, this kid's shirt. He looks like he's in a fight. And I'm like looking at him like,
Uncle Cliffy beat me up.
so I said, let me go talk to my sister, you know, before she comes over. I'm like, what happened, man? So I wait for her by the bathroom, she comes out and I go, Cheryl, I said, I ripped Gerald's shirt. She goes, what happened? I go, that little sucker slapped me in the back of my head. I lost my mind. I tell her, she was flipped out and happy. I said, no. She was so understanding. And she was like, I said, I'm sorry, I'm buying this shirt. And I said, I grabbed him. But man, that was the last time I can remember like getting so upset with a child.
What made you so upset about that?
I think it was
Hey,
like,
Derek.
you were saying like the lack of respect. Like, how do you think you can do that? You know? Okay, how does a kid think you can do that?
We're trying to be in 2, 3, 4, or 5 rows, so we could. Huh?
3 people or 3 rows?
For rows 2, 3, 4, 5. That way we can all kind of talk together. So.
It's a family
Come on. So, if you think about it, so there's certain things, I think all of us could say there's certain things that set us off, right? But can you think of a time that maybe something was done to you that just really was just wrong? kind of like somebody slapped you in the back of the head, right? Or maybe that you were just mistreated, abused, or just something like that. Woke you up. Can you think of a time that it was just wrong? You just were just mistreated. Never? Everybody treats you good all the time? Did you ever feel mistreated and misread?
I tend to not dwell on it so much to where, like, I feel it's unhealthy to remember certain things. Like, I always look to what's happening, so I don't remember. I don't keep like a list of things like that in my head. Like, there's lots of stuff.
Right.
And if I sat here for a while, I could think about it and I could grab one. But being put on the spot, I can't really think of any one instance. There's tons of stuff that happens.
Miss Raven, have you ever been mistreated? Do you ever feel like you've ever been mistreated? Has mom and dad ever mistreated? George, come on, I know you have something. You're not going to tell us.
I'll share. When I was a kid, I had two cousins in Florida, and they used to tease me relentlessly. They were about 6 years older than me. So I would spend summers at their house, and they would be the babysitter while their mom and my mom worked. So one time they told one of their friends to tell me that he was going to kill me. So for the whole day, he tormented me. Like, watch yourself. So the whole day I'm like this. And then at the end, he's like, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
Not today, tomorrow.
So, if you think about sometime that maybe somebody did something how about this? Have you ever been hurt by someone? Like sometimes you might have been in a relationship with somebody and then they if you think about a childhood girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, that's not for the little people, by the way. Has anybody ever hurt you that way? Hurt you in a way that you're just like, no way, I just will never go through that again. Mike?
In ninth grade, for Christmas, anybody remember ID bracelets the guys used to wear? Like the nice silver chain link with the flat polished metal and your name engraved in it? Big thing in ninth grade in 1966. I wanted one of them the worst way. So I got one for Christmas. And in 2 or 3 weeks, riding the bus to school, I found out this girl from Rocky Point liked it. And I'm talking to my mother sometime later on that week. I remember it was a big thing when boys went out, girls giving your bracelet to the girl. My mother said, "Don't you give that bracelet." And it wasn't something I expected because, in my high school yearbook, I was voted, at least likely to date anyone in the near future. Smallest, most effeminate looking kid in my senior class. My senior picture looks like a 7th grader. So I found this girl likes me, and one thing led to another, and I gave her my bracelet. I gave her my bracelet within 2 days. It's like I didn't exist. And within 2 weeks, I find out from the kids on the bus, because she was on the bus, and we had like an hour-long bus ride to school in the middle place, Rocky Point. I found out she took my bracelet, she had it ground down, polished, and another guy's name put on it. And gave it to her real studly Rocky Point boyfriend. So I had to go home and tell my mother and get a beat, and just have everybody's eyes on me for the rest of 9th grade, like, what a loser.
Wow, that's tough.
That was one of his marketing ships, and you kind of forgot that, Hey, it happened.
Can I give you a hug now?
Yeah, when I get that bracelet.
So let me ask you this: what do you do when you have a tough situation like that? Maybe you were hurt by someone, or someone just made you mad. They did something that set you off. What do you do? How do you deal with it? Brian said, "Well, I try to look forward. What do you do?
Well, you're going to deal with it differently, different stages of your life.
What do you do? What do you do when someone just really just
Now
yeah.
you try to talk to the person. Let them know, like, you think that they wronged you, and just let them know.
Okay.
And then, just move on from there. So, something like that,
What do you do if you know somebody is, you ever have some, do you know somebody in your life that is kind of what I call spiky or brittle, right? That you kind of just don't want to, you really don't want to spend too much time with them just because they're difficult to deal with. And it's kind of like any kind of conversation like that. If you bring it up, it's like, I don't want to say anything to that person because they're just difficult to, and it doesn't matter if you said hi, they'd just be mad at you. And what do you do? What would you do in that kind of situation if you have that kind of spiky person?
I don't think I know somebody like that. I don't know anybody like that. But I think that would be on them. But I have to, if I think that they did something wrong to me and I'm just letting them know about it, however they deal with that, it's on them. But I gotta let them know that I think this was wrong.
So you'd say something. Either way, it doesn't matter whether it's spiky or not, right?
Okay.
Okay.
I learned the same I heard on the radio. You can't really hug a porcupine. Somebody's like that, you really can't hug them. So you have to learn how to love them in a way that, is giving, but at the same point, you don't really put yourself to the point to get stabbed, Like, maybe if the quills are going the right way, you can,
Right.
see their value, you encourage them as much as possible, but as far as, getting lucky with a porcupine.
Right. What about those? Some folks are just naturally brittle, right? And whether you're close or not, you just get hit by the debris, right? What about if someone just says something fresh to you, just like, D, I'm speaking here.
You gotta also care about the person that you're gonna say this or confront them about.
Right.
Whatever, they do something and you're just like that. I can easily ignore a lot of stuff too.
But what about the scenario where maybe sometimes you can kind of go with that motive that, okay, I care about you, I want our relationship to continue, right? The other side is, look, you hurt me, I really don't want you to do that again. So I'm going to confront you in that regard. Meaning like, hey, you did something to me, I just don't want you to do it again. We may not have a relationship, like we're trying to be tight or buddy-buddy, but I just don't want you to do that again. What do you do?
Isn't that what you do? What you said? Like, you're confronting the person, you let them know.
You could. Do you always? I'm just wondering if we always do it.
So how you feel towards that person.
Right.
If it's somebody like that you don't have a relationship with, and they've done something, myself, I can overlook a lot of wrongs too, and not like have to address everything.
Okay. So now that's a good one. So that's one of the things I was wondering about, which is, what do you decide, or how do you decide what you're going to let go and what you are going to address? Or is it socially dependable? Because I think what I'm wondering is, do we choose porcupines and we say, well, you're a porcupine, so I'm probably not going to say too much to a porcupine because I don't want to get poked. But someone maybe a little more meek, you might say, well, they're more accepting. See, I'm squeaking here. Do I need this? Oh, okay, for the thing. Yeah.
I have a question. If you try to approach the person with what you're saying, you hurt me, don't do it again, and they just decide to remain, a hurting person, at some point, it's not that you don't love them, you give up on them, but you just wait. You give love, expect that God's going to turn it around.
Right.
But to me, I just wouldn't throw myself under the bus over and over and over and over in that way. But I would anticipate that God can change it. And if I'm still and doing what the right thing is, and that person still insists on being hurtful after they've been told that they've been hurtful, at some point you have to let chips fall where they may. That's just my opinion, but that's how I would handle it.
Does everybody handle it the same way? Can anybody think of a time that you just kind of said, they're just not getting it right now, let me just move on?
Right now.
Depends on the type of person that
depends on who and who they are, right? Okay. Sandra, what do you think?
It depends too. Just like, for example, my mother, she gets on my nerves almost daily, but I'm not gonna stop talking to her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
my daughter drives me crazy on a daily basis, but I'm not gonna, it's a relationship that you want to keep. I think even as a friendship, I've had friendships where we were friends forever and it just, we outgrew each other. It was just time to part ways. And
That's a good one, right? Have you ever have you had friends that you had all your life, and then, or maybe some childhood friends, and then all of a sudden something? One of the things I found fascinating is sometimes this happens in families, right? There's a sibling that I just don't talk to anymore, or a friend that I used to talk to and now I just don't talk to them anymore because I'm mad at them, or this happened to me.
some people didn't really be mad. Same situation I was in with a friend, but it was a lot of, I was going a different direction.
Right.
And the person was jealous of that direction that I was going in. So
Right.
she backed off. And
Right.
I tried to engage her, but it's just not, I didn't go the way she wanted me to go.
Right,
So
right,
she just let go.
right,
Wasn't mad, but.
right. Okay, that's a good one. All right, how about this one? When you're upset about something, does everybody agree that they get upset at some point? How long does it take you to get over it, whatever it is? When you think about the scripture, it says, "Do not let the sun go down," right? You know. Are you good at
I
that?
don't always find that scripture.
Is that dependent on the person?
Me, because it's my anger.
Okay.
So, although I have to say, I've been in the midst of many fights with certain people, and I just don't want to go to sleep. I don't have a problem sleeping when I'm angry, but because you can just pick it up the next day. But for the most part, if I'm angry, if it's on me, then yes, I should resolve it.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying about what the right thing to do is. I'm asking, like, what do you actually do? Meaning, like, does it usually depend on the person for you? Like some people, if I have an issue with, or some kind of thing that happened, I can't sleep. Some people, like Doris said, does it depend on the person for you? What do you do? How do you handle? Does it depend on the person for you? Depends on what you disagree about. Okay. So if it's a big issue, one more. You missed a row. We're only in the first 4 rows. Jamal's telling on me. So it depends on the issue. Okay. How about does it depend on the person at all?
Definitely does. I mean, it does.
Like what's the
Most
difference?
people don't typically get under my skin, but I've got at least one person in my life that does, who shall remain nameless.
That's one.
And it gets under my skin, like it is like an instant trigger with certain things.
Right.
And, you know, it's something that I have to control and be understanding, patient and all that, because I can't change that person.
Right.
But I have to deal with this kind of thing constantly, so. That's just to say that there's, most people are not like that.
Right.
Things just kind of roll off, dust it off, doesn't even matter, I don't even really think about it.
Right.
But another person or two, it can
And
be thinking like, I should have said this, I should have said that, and thinking about it, mulling it over constantly.
is that true normally with someone that's close to you, like a family, right? That's usually, like if it's somebody that's not really.
Because you're expecting more from them. I think you may have a higher, or the closeness of it touching you. Just get something, like you're saying, you get something to say because
And typically it's family.
they know,
Family, right,
they
family.
know those buttons or those little triggers
How much does George get under your nerves? Does he? Daily basis. Do you ever get mad at him more than a day?
Oh,
Yeah?
yeah. But I get over it.
Get over it fast, okay. Miss Raven? What do you think? Does your brother or your sister get under your nerves faster? Huh? Both?
Yeah.
Which one's easier to get over?
Um,
Randall?
yeah.
Is that because he's farther away?
Yeah, and I can just hang up.
I could just hang up. That's a good one. Okay. Do you ever get mad more than a day?
Yeah.
How long does it? What's the longest you've ever been mad at one of your brothers or sisters?
24 hours.
That's it? That's it? That's the longest you can go? You couldn't hold out any longer?
Yeah, it was 24 hours without speaking.
Okay, 24 hours without speaking. All right, now, us adult. Oh wait, sorry, I got to get the young people. George, is yours 24 hours too? Are you ever longer than 24 hours? Yeah, you can be mad at longer than 24 hours? No? No, really? Man, you guys are like, you can't hold out longer than that? Okay. I find that true with kids. With the younger they get, the less time they can. Like my little guys, they can fight, be on the ground, mad, yelling, screaming at each other. Somebody hit me, somebody pushed me on the ground, and crying, and then next thing you know, 20 minutes later, they're playing and dancing around on the couch, and if two adults had the same situation, woo-wee, any version. Now, this is one of the questions I had for you, which was thinking about one of the kids and what they kind of do, and they, my guys, they push each other and they do all this stuff. What if someone that's close to you went through the same scenario, you argued about something, and they pushed you? Physically? That's a good question, right? All of a sudden, you're like, wait, do you mean actually really push me? What would you do?
I'll tell you what I did to that kid.
Everybody's walking around with torn up shirts.
Rip a shirt real fast.
Marissa, what would you do?
I already told you what I did.
What would you do? Somebody push you. What would you do?
I'm not supposed to do anything, but I have.
Would most of the older people feel like I'm ready to take off? Well, the guys take off the hat, the girls take off the earrings, put the Vaseline on. What do you do?
Excuse you.
Excuse you, right? So we start to get we could start to feel ourselves change in character. There's an interesting Bible verse that I thought you guys might find interesting. Matthew 5, he says, if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. What do you think about that verse? What do you think about that? I mean, seriously, what do you think about that?
It's challenging.
I want to hear your thoughts, but I shared this verse with some brothers years ago, and we had a good discussion about it. And what I found was most people hear this verse, and inside they say, no way. Anybody saying no way? I appreciate the honesty. A lot of people are saying no way internally, but not necessarily. They want to say the right thing, right? Because we're in a church building. You're supposed to say yes. You're supposed to say I'm doing the right thing, right? But inside, what are we saying? If somebody just gave you a little shove, what would you do? So the reason there's some really good, interesting thoughts I have around the theology of what that verse actually is talking about. And we'll talk about it, we'll touch on it a little bit based on our time, but I'm not really interested. The reason I brought it up is because I want you to consider your character, right? And who you are and what you do. How do you deal with these tough situations? Excuse me? What?
When I was a kid, my grandmother used to tell me how. And I remember a situation that happened where I did get slapped in the face, literally. And it hurt so bad. And then I turned my face and said, do you want to slap this side too? And the person looked at me and just walked away.
Well, it's funny when
That's the literal sense of
of all the different weirdo experiences that I've had in my life. One time when I was a kid, actually, I was standing in my yard and just kind of being a kid, and I was happened to be standing at the edge of the fence, and I was inside my yard, and my neighborhoods usually weren't the best neighborhoods, but you know there was some stuff going on, and I'm a little kid, I'm sitting there at the fence looking, watching some family have a little fight or a war. And I'm standing there looking, and some guy screaming and yelling, and he's doing his whole thing, and he walks by and he goes,
slapped you?
slap me, slap the skin off this skin. I didn't have to turn the other cheek because I didn't have any more skin left. He just slapped me like, it was just one of those like, but the thing that's crazy, the reason I mention it is not necessarily for the sake of the slap, but it was one of those like, it drums up in me emotional feelings, even today, about how could you do that to a little kid, you know? So, kind of makes me like, man, where's that guy? I want to fight him. But that's the feeling, right? You know. So that was one of the things I wanted to think about. How about this? In your anger, do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. Is that one always easy? Anybody? You have any? Let me say it this way. Our young people had 24 hours. I think that was they just couldn't survive. I'm disappointed, but you guys couldn't survive longer than 24 hours. How about us adults? What's the longest, and maybe your counter may not have gone off yet, but what's the longest that you've been able to say, I'm upset about this thing, and it's going to stick with me? Has it? Everybody get what I'm saying, right? What's the longest you've gone for an act? I'll say for an active relationship, or one that should be active, like a sibling.
5 days, something like that, close to a week.
Close to a week. Okay.
I went a couple of months.
Okay. Wrestling.
Years?
But that's not a very uncommon. So don't feel like you're the only one. That's not very uncommon.